We're going to dive into belief systems today on this training and how we're going to break through your beliefs and behaviors that are holding you back so that you can actually create changes that last. And this training today is going to be super important because in order to actually create long-term change, changes that actually remain consistent, we need to change your behavior because your behavior is going to lead to your results. And in order to change that, we need to change your beliefs and the beliefs that are holding you back. So if, for example, in your life you've achieved a certain result, there's been a certain set of behaviors that actually got you to that outcome, and that's all stemmed from your beliefs. And that's what we're going to discuss today on today's call. And in order to change the beliefs, there's a couple of things we must do first. The first thing is actually understand what the beliefs are, so what our beliefs are, and then understand how they are formed. Because ultimately, if we can understand what the beliefs are that are holding us back, then that creates a level of awareness so that we can actually start to understand how we can change and how they are formed. When we start to become aware of our beliefs, we start to question them, that's when we're actually in the driving seat to take back control, take back power, and step into change, and change is the last. So why this is important, your results right now, where you are a reflection of what you currently believe about yourself. Now, those beliefs are shaped by your past, whether your experiences, for example, what your parents told you growing up, or what your workplace has told you you can or can't achieve, your environment, and the stories you've been told, and the stories you continually tell yourself. Your beliefs then drive your actions. So if you constantly believe that, I'm overweight, I'm fat, I can never get in shape, that is going to reinforce your actions. And your actions are going to be, well, I don't take action, I don't walk, I don't go to the gym, I don't eat healthy. This is how the subconscious is programmed, is consistently programmed through your conscious thoughts, but that comes down to your beliefs. So we have to actually change the thoughts that go into your mind, because if we don't, that's going to lead to your actions, and your actions are going to reinforce that old identity that's keeping you stuck. So that is how the process works when it comes to actually your beliefs. So if you don't change your beliefs, you're going to keep repeating the same results over and over again. So if you started a journey with your fat loss, let's say, and you're 6, 7 months into the journey, you've not seen any changes. Well, there's no coincidence as to why you've not seen any changes, because you're constantly reinforces old habits and old beliefs that are keeping you stuck. So what we need to do is we need to shift the belief, change the actions, and therefore that's going to create a new identity for you going forwards. The key thing to know is that your results are always going to be a reflection of your identity and your internal belief systems. And touching on what I was saying a minute ago, if you've been telling yourself, or you consistently tell yourself things like, I always fall off track, I can't stay consistent, I can never be consistent, I just have no willpower around food, I'm always fat, I can't lose weight, I can never keep it off, it always just seems to come back. Or, I'll give it a go, I'll try, but then I know that I'd always go back to doing old things. This is the old belief system that's keeping you back. It's basically BS. It's not BS you're thinking of, it's the BS being the belief systems. So even if you try to act differently, your brain eventually will pull you back to what feels is true and is what is in resonance with you and what you've done before. Now, we do have to act as if we are that person, that future version, but it's very specific things we have to do to actually get you there, okay? And we have to be really deep with convincing our subconscious mind that we actually are this person. So you don't sabotage yourself randomly. What you're doing is you're being consistent with what you consistently believe about yourself. Now, the first step to change is self-aware. Okay, so if we look at this graphic here, we start off at the bottom here, feeling super motivated. This is how the cycle works, guys. You're feeling motivated, you kickstart. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna smash this. I'm gonna smash this. I'm gonna do my training. I'm gonna hit my nutrition. I'm gonna hit my steps. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna prep my meals. You do that for a week, amazing. Then what happens when life happens, or it throws you a curveball? Maybe you get home from work late, or something happens, something stressful. An old belief then kicks in. This is point number two. The old belief kicks in, and what tends to happen is process of a trigger. And the internal chatter then kicks off, and you start telling yourself things like, you know what? See, I know I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up with the nutrition. I couldn't eat well. I couldn't follow the training plan consistently. I couldn't stick to it. Oh, you know what? I give up completely. That's the fourth step. When you start to tell yourself, I give up, this then reinforces the identity of, you know what? I knew I couldn't do it. I give up. And then you're back to square one. Okay, and this is the cycle that so many guys stay stuck in, and we want to break that cycle. And we're going to give you the tools today in this video training to actually give you the action steps to break out of that pattern. And this is how we're going to make that shift. So make sure you're taking notes as well. This is a step-by-step process, and I'm going to walk you through each step, step by step. So the first step is we need to actually identify the belief that is holding you back. So ask yourself right now, if you're driving, pull over. If you're listening to this on playback, pull over and actually take note on this, okay? So ask yourself, what do you actually believe about yourself when it comes to fat loss? When it comes to getting in shape, what is it you currently believe about yourself? And I want you to be honest, write it down. Write it down on paper right now. I want you to write down 3 beliefs you've been telling yourself. I want you to be honest, no filter. Be honest, okay? Maybe it's things like, you know what, I'm just not a morning person, or I just can't seem to work out in the morning. I just can't get myself motivated, or I never have time to work out, or I just don't have time to make food. I'm always busy. Work gets in the way, the kids, etc., etc. Okay, you need to be honest with what you're telling yourself right now. You need to be honest with the beliefs you're telling yourself, because we're going to break that down. We're going to cause a quantum leap in your physiology and your psychology as well right now, because we want to make sure that the first step is we're becoming aware, but then we're going to lead on to the second step. So take some time right now, pause this, and write down 3 beliefs that you've been telling yourself. Okay, be honest and don't filter. Okay, you've got to be honest with yourself with where you're at right now. Step 2. Okay, so if you've done step 1, if you've not done it, pause it, go over it again, and make sure you do it. Okay. Step 2 is that I want you to challenge that now with some new evidence. So when your brain kicks off into gear, right? When you start to get these negative thoughts or these beliefs that come up, your brain deletes evidence that doesn't match your identity. So I want you to start looking for proof in your life right now where this isn't true, or evidence from other people that are proven and they are demonstrating results. Maybe you don't have that belief right now, but we need to start tapping into belief from other people. This is why having a coach, a mentor is so pivotal, because if you don't know how you're going to get to the result, but your coach does, then you need to tap into their belief. You need to know that, you know what, maybe I don't believe it right now, but they can. They do believe in me. And I'm going to use their belief to actually develop my own belief. And I'm going to use their belief and I'm going to go with it until I start to see evidence. Then I'm going to start to use their belief. Okay. So maybe you've been telling yourself things like, you know what, I'm not consistent with training, but I want to challenge you. And I wanted to challenge you. Look for other areas in your life that you are consistent. Maybe you're showing up to work every day. Okay. Well, you are consistent then, aren't you? So there's evidence there that you are consistent. You are a consistent person. Maybe you tell yourself, you know what, I always quit. But let me ask you something. Let's challenge that again. Look for areas in your life right now where you haven't actually quit. Have you quit on your job? No. Have you quit on your business? No. Have you quit on your relationship? No. So don't let that one area be the dictating factor that you're a quitter, because you're not. You're not an inconsistent person. We have to remember you and your behavior is 2 different things. You and your behavior are separate. You are not an inconsistent person. Maybe your behavior in certain areas is inconsistent, but that's something you can change. You can change your behavior. And I want to remind you of that. So take some time now, write down 3 moments of evidence in your life where you've proved you can, and you've shown to yourself that you've done it before. So take some time right now to do that. Pause the video again if you need to, and apply it. Step 3, install the new beliefs and identity. This is key, okay? Because without this part, things won't fall into place. And the perfectionist syndrome is one of the worst things in my mind when I think about it that you can actually do, because if you're trying to be perfect in everything, then you're setting your expectations up to hell, because this is not me downplaying your goals, because I believe that you can achieve anything you put your mind to. But if you're trying to be perfect in your health, in your relationships, your finances, your career, your relationships with your kids, if you've got kids, having that balance is the thing you should be looking for. Having perfection in everything is not always going to happen, okay? Because trying to be perfect in everything, it's something that we as humans, we strive for. But if we're not perfect, then it's very easy to let ourselves down. But this is where it comes down to managing expectations, setting big goals, and working towards your big goals. And instead of trying to be perfect, you need to start acting like the person you want to become in small, consistent ways. So maybe it's even saying things to your life, to yourself, like, after one meal, if I've been out for a meal, I don't quit. I go again. I'm the person that no matter what, I keep a promise and I stick to it. If things have thrown challenges my way, my work, I'm someone that gets back on track quickly. I've proved to myself that I've done it before and I can do it again. This is not about giving up, okay? Because every time you follow through, even in a small way, you are collecting proof, you are collecting evidence, which reinforces the new belief. And remember, to get good at anything, you need to repeat, 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 repeat. Repetition is the mother of skill. To get good at something, to get a physique that you feel confident with, comes down to the repetition of putting in the work in the gym and with your nutrition. It's as simple as that. Okay, you're not going to get in shape by going to the gym once and never again. It's repetition is the mother of skill. So I want you to write down now 3 ways that you can actually start acting like the person you want to become when we think about looking for that new sense of belief, that new identity. So if you're someone that is in the best shape of your life, let's say, for example, you've got 12% body fat, 10% body fat, you've got abs, you're in really good shape, what you determine that to be is different for everyone. Write down 3 attributes of that person. I want you to start pretending as if you already are that person. Start acting like you already are that person. Okay? So I want to give you the belief rewiring framework. It's a simple framework that you can use as of right now to help move out of your old beliefs into the reinforcement of your new beliefs. The first step is I want you to identify the old belief. What is the old belief that's holding you back? Maybe you tell yourself things like, when work gets busy, I always fall off track. I want you to write it down. And then I want you to look it on paper. I want you to challenge that. Ask yourself, is that true? Be honest, is that true? Or are you telling yourself a lie? Okay, call it for what it is. Is it true? Is that really true? Or is that the story I keep telling myself? Okay. Step number 3 is finding evidence. So what we need to do now is we need to actually look for evidence where you stay consistent in other areas of your life. So maybe it's your work right now. Maybe you've stayed consistent with your work and your health commitments before. So looking for evidence. Where in your life is the evidence that you stay consistent in that specific area? So for example, you may have stayed consistent in your work before or your relationships. Okay, so there is evidence that you are a consistent person. There's evidence there. Step 4, the new belief. So this is where we install that new belief. So when you think about finding evidence, we're now installing that new belief. So I want you to write down, I can stay consistent. I've done it before and I will do it again. Okay, so this is the example. For example, when we look at the evidence, I've stayed consistent with work and health commitments before. The new belief is I can stay consistent. I've done it before and I can do it again. I can do it again. I've done it in one area of my life and I can do it in another area of my life. Then the last step is the reinforcement. So this is where we repeat the actions. So I want you to, small wins, more proof to yourself that you can do it. That's going to lead to a stronger belief. So I want you to then, 3 actions that you can do right now that aligns with that new version of you. So if, for example, your old belief is, you know what, I've always gained it back. I've always gained the weight back. Okay, but let's challenge that. Have you always gained it back? Be honest. Have you always gained weight back and fallen off track? Well, you're probably not. Okay, you're probably not. There's probably a point in your life when you were younger that you were in the best shape of your life, and a lot of people use that as an excuse. Oh, you know what was easier? That's an excuse. Okay, again, that's a belief. So you can't do it. Priorities change, but you have to work around your new way of living, and we have to install new beliefs so you can do it. Okay, so finding evidence. Well, you've done it. You've proved to yourself that in the past you've actually got in shape. So there is evidence there that you can do it. Okay, well, that new belief is that I can do it. I can actually lose fat. I can stay consistent. I've done it before. I've done it in the past, and I can do it again. Okay, we have to reinforce the habits, the new belief through repetition. So the repetition, repetition, repetition. This is where the small wins come in. So you need to prove to yourself that you can do it. So write down 3 actions now that you can actually reinforce that new belief And so you can step into it. What are 3 actions you can do right now to start getting yourself back in shape, back in gear? Okay, well, it might be something simple as going to the gym 3 times a week for 45 minutes, following a meal plan. Okay, that's the second thing. Walking 10,000 steps a day. Okay, they're the actions that you have to apply on a day-to-day basis. And no matter what, through discipline, through giving yourself a consistent demand and following through, that's what discipline is, you will get there. Okay, but the only way you're going to fail is when you stop looking for evidence in your life you can achieve the results you want. And that is the belief rewiring framework for this training. So take some time today, go through this, start implementing it in, and watch the results changing your life. Without anything though, remember discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it through no matter what. So if you look at yourself 30 days from now and you're not where you want to be, you know that it's come down to the fact that you've not been consistent and disciplined enough. So remember, make sure that if this helped, you watch it, you listen to it time and time again. Repetition is the mother of skill. Until the next training, if you have any questions on this, then reach out to me.